Hello, everybody. This is Love from Above by the Sibling Spirit Guides. I'm Maureen, and this is my brother.
Hi, Maureen. Hey, everyone. This is Brian.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Brian, we're so happy to be here. If you can believe it, on this podcast, we share daily channelings we receive from star beings, ascended masters, mythical beings who really exist, and occasionally our ancestors. And we're calling this podcast our most fascinating sessions ever. Because Brian, I'll tell you, if you would tell me that we'd be channeling Archangel Gabriel or the Ascended Masters or star beings like the Pleiadians, I'd be surprised. But this one is we channeled United States generals who were in a like billet bunker beneath the earth. I still don't even know how this happened, but it did, and it's very surprising. And of course, the generals learned a lesson about love. Oh my gosh, Brian, what do you think of all of this?
Yeah, I mean, isn't it amazing? I'd love to know. I mean, this is just one example of, technology that our government or the military has that we're unaware of. But I mean, I don't know how they tapped into, channel or connect to you through the watchers, but it is pretty amazing. And then they didn't probably like the response they got, but we'll
Oh,
get
they got
into it.
shut down at the end, which we'll get. It's fascinating, but it's really fascinating. It's really a lesson for us all because it's a lesson about love. And but anyway, you want to kick us off with, so these are sessions 3 days in a row, beginning May 2nd, 2024. And it begins with a session from Aura, who were the first beings who contacted us. So do you want to kick us off?
Sure. And it's surprising that we haven't published this before. I remember these, and then I don't know. It's funny that we haven't done it. But anyway, I'm glad that we're finally doing it today. So military meetings from Aura. We herald news of a most unusual reunification between those within the military complex of your governments. These meetings have taken place in the subterranean realms without our participation. We have no need for military equipment, for there's no greater power than the power of love, earnest from the one creator. In this way, we wield a mighty sword. We come forth now with offerings to assist those who wish to hear the higher vibrational calls which ring through this planet. The matrix plugs the news, in quotes, which is the carrot and the stick to keep the highly evolved beings in your elevated structures focused on what does not matter. To focus on the true goal of life, which is the expansion of love, which you express within yourself and with others, that is a true miracle, one that you are on your way to fully achieving. So, Maureen, then you want to jump in with your response at this point?
Yeah, so, it's just like anyone you're communicating with. I knew they were telling a story, and it's kind of funny. Just as you're reading this, it kind of felt like, they're having this meeting without us. And we don't need military equipment, but it did definitely sounds to me like they would have loved to be part of this meeting. But I just could feel like there was something else that they wanted to say. And so I said to them, there's something that you want to say, but you're not saying it. You're hedging. Can you speak directly, please? And they told me that David had already asked me, and I said no. And they wanted me to do something, I don't know what, with regards to this military meeting, but I didn't want to have any part of it because Brian and I are all about peace and love, man. So, do you want to continue on with what they had to say?
Then they said, that is all, dearest one. We shall continue to inform you of the true news which arises most judiciously from activity of light workers like yourself involved in altering the course of this beloved planet. Whether you realize or not, your daily interactions with each other, which are based in love, do so resound strongly. They are like a rubber band which has been pulled taut, ready to fly into the unknown. So, okay, that's interesting. So,
Yeah. And what really strikes me for this one is how they define the news. And we've talked so many times on this podcast with regards to the news, but to really think about the news in parentheses is the carrot and the stick to keep highly evolved beings focused on what does not matter. Focused on what does not matter. Because what matters is love, and the news is not focused on love. I think that's the best definition of all of the sessions that we've shared with everybody. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've reiterated this so many times, but it is true, and it's just not real either. It's not the real news, and so anyway, let's get into the next one. We have a couple more that this really gets interesting, I think. So then from May 2nd, 2024, it's again the U.S. Generals from the Watchers. Dearest one, we indeed wish to speak with you and your beloved brother. The generals we spoke of yesterday have indeed come forth and request to communicate through you. And then what did you say to them?
Well, first of all, super surprised. And just didn't know who these generals are. And I was like, who are these generals? And they said, from the US military. And I just said, no, I do not want generals from the US military communicating from me, through me. And then afterwards, you communicated with me, brother, and you were so correct because you said that I should be open. I should be open to communicating for the generals. And of course, you were right. So the next session happened the next day, and I asked the watchers to open up a channel between me and the generals, which, Brian, I really don't even understand how this is possible. Like, how in real time can I don't understand how, but you told me that they do have the technology to do this. Like, it boggles my mind to think that I don't even know where in the world I was, but that they're able to communicate with me in real time through channeling.
Yeah.
I don't know. Freaky, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm sure they're listening to us now too, but it's okay. We got
Okay, so you want to go on with what they had to say?
Okay, so again, this is May 3rd, 2024. Brian says I should be open to the generals. Of course, he's right. I asked the watchers to open up that channel. Indeed, we are most pleased to connect loving parties who reside within and then from there, from here, I think it's switching to the generals. Is that correct?
Yeah, so then the generals go on to say, we thank you for the invitation to communicate in this way. We have attempted to communicate with the beings with which you regularly converse. However, you have solidified a connection we cannot obtain. We have questions with regards to the formula we are developing. We believe our efforts are close to securing the results in which we seek. However, we need further guidance. We list those beings who come through you to provide the solution we are requesting. And then I noted in the channeling that, normally when I channel, like I wait for this wavy, wavy feeling, like I'm in a really rocky little boat, and then I know I'm supposed to channel. And instead of feeling wavy, 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 or I did feel a little bit wavy, wavy, I had a headache and I was super cold. So I don't know what was going on. Yeah. So then it goes on to the watchers, and I said, do you have an answer for the generals? Do you want to go on with what the watchers had to say?
Yeah. They said, we shall not provide the answers you seek. The quandary that presents itself is one that is self-fulfilling. The goals that you seek to attain are not in alignment with the one creator's goals. In this way, you shall continually go into a circle. The true movement forward is a leap forward from one level to another, ascending the staircase which is accessible to all. When you align your goals with the true purpose of the one creator, which is love, then your results shall see fruition. The solution, as it were, is to unravel all that has occurred and build up from the base which you've built on a faulty foundation. These are not the words you wish to receive. However, this process is true for anyone as they move forward. Should their goals not align with the true purpose of the one creator, which is to expand and grow in love, then all shall fail to come to fruition. What you reap is what you sow. Unless the seeds of love are planted in the ground, nothing shall be returned for you to harvest. So let me just pause there. There's a lot to unpack, but yeah, it's pretty cool. So they they had a question in regard to a formula they're developing, which is I think, what the heck is that? But then the watchers just shut them down and said, "You're going to fail. You're nothing's going to work because it's not built upon love." I thought that's really interesting.
Yeah, and the other thing that's so interesting is how firm they are because when we channel with them, it's all lovey-dovey. You know what I mean? It's just, normally we don't put these in the podcast, but normally it's like a full paragraph of, "Oh, darling, beloved children of the light, we love you so much and we're so happy to connect with," and this is like, we will not provide the answers that you seek. Like it's just
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's totally, totally different. And it's very interesting. So this does apply to each one of our lives. Like if you're not building whatever you want from a foundation of love, it's not going to come to fruition. You have to have a phoenix process and burn everything back down and start again and build from love. So, you know, it's such a powerful message, right?
yeah, definitely, definitely. So everyone can take something away from this for sure.
Yeah. So then this is very interesting. So I said to the generals, is there anything else? And then they had a long pause, which again, how is this happening in real time? I have no idea. But anyway, the generals were conferring, and then they came back again and they said, and this is a very interesting caveat that they add. They said, can the love that is expressed be the love for one's country? Can that be sufficient to expand the processes so that they can reach full fruition? And so then I turned it over to the watchers. Do you want to say what the watchers had to say?
Yeah, so they said the love of which you speak, the love for one's country that is often portrayed as patriotism in the United States, is indeed not a love, but a fear of others. That's great. A true love of a country would be to appreciate the glory, the majesty of the mountains, the beauty of the sea. This is a love. To build weaponry to protect the borders is indeed not love. This is fear of others. We hope that this assists in the development of the goals for which you have sought us out. We shall recede at this moment because there's nothing further to add to this situation. We ask you not to contact through this vehicle again. We are, as always, grateful to assist any who are able to attain a connection through this vibration. That is all through the love and the light of the one creator. So that's so true. And of course, they're never gonna, they're all about, protecting. And so it's not that they tried to, it's interesting spin on things. They tried to portray it as, a love for the country, but again, they love how they said it's not really love, it's a fear of others, which is so true. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was just really grateful that they said, you cannot contact me again, that they can't use me again as a vehicle to contact them. And I also find it interesting that they're grateful to assist any who are able to attain this vibration. And, Brian and I are 100% devoted to our spiritual ascension, and I think that's why we're able to channel all the beings that we channel. And so it's interesting. Anyone who's able to achieve that vibration, they're happy to communicate with you. But this is just fascinating. Like I said, I still don't understand how this happened, but I think it's a beautiful lesson for you can't, and You can't try and make the words pretty and be like, oh, we're focused on love. It's patriotism of the country. No, the watchers are not buying it for 1 second.
Yeah, and that's not what I was expecting. I thought, well, maybe the generals have something positive or something, but no, I should have known. It was, of course, about building a weapon or something of that matter. So anyway, but still, I think it was fruitful to have the communication from the other insights we got out of it. So, and it's just fascinating. So glad we did proceed and did communicate with them, although yeah, we don't want to have any further communication going forward.
Yeah, and you were right, Brian. I mean, I should have been open to the generals and and we send the United States generals only love and appreciation and we wish them well with whatever they're trying to do, this formula that they feel like they're almost at the brink of having success, or they thought that until this communication. But come on, people, this is the most it's surprising Archangel Gabriel shows up for Saint Germain, but this was, our dad would say a real doozy. Any other thoughts?
That sums it up pretty well, and nothing else to add to this. So definitely an unusual one, but you never know what you're going to find on this podcast. So hopefully you found it interesting and learned something from it.
Yeah, and I'll just say again that this came up because I'm working on volume 2 of our book. And Brian, do you want to remind people that volume 1 is coming out 11/11 of this year?
Yeah, so it's been released in an ebook on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, Nook, and Apple, and any other. It's a couple other ebook distributors. It will also be on paperback, but only on Amazon. And it's, I think, available for pre-order. It's coming out on 11/11. And yeah, so if this interests you, please consider buying the book. And anything else, Maureen?
No, thank you for all for listening, and we'll talk to you all next week.